First thing in the morning of a new week. If you have long hair, tie it up when you're around food, because I just made a mess of myself. Hello, it's currently 12:35 in the afternoon on Sunday. I just woke up an hour ago. I always tell myself I have to sleep earlier or more in the weekends since I finished placements in late February, but that just has never happened and it's nearly June already. So for today I need to make myself a music playlist for labs, and then I have to make my weekly schedule on my journal. I actually never know my schedule to the hour until that very day, because when we leave the lab solely depends on how much lab work we have on that day, but it's still good to roughly know what I have to do each day. I have to study a bit and maybe edit this video as well, but I'll see how much time I have given it's already 1 p.m. Hello, it's currently 5:20 in the afternoon. I just came back from the lab and I am exhausted, as you may tell from my voice, because I slept very little last night and I was not expecting such a long lab day. But I'm happy because nothing really went wrong in the lab today, and by that I mean something did go wrong, but it is not because we're careless and messed things up, or it's not like massive. It was because of the case that holds the gel while doing electrophoresis. So normally when you do electrophoresis, your protein bands across the gel between samples should be like level or nearly level. So when you cut the membrane, it should be like horizontal. I may insert a picture here to show how it should look like, but today's, because the case was kind of malfunctional, our bands was completely crooked. So instead of horizontal, how I cut the gel today, the membrane today was more like S shape or C shape. It was that crooked, but we tried to make things work by modifying how we cut so that the protein bands that we want to look at are still on the same section after cutting, as if how it would be if they were level and we cut them horizontally, if that makes sense. We try to make things work, but if it doesn't work out tomorrow, we'll find out tomorrow because we'll do imaging. But if it doesn't work out tomorrow, it's still fine. We just have to run the electrophoresis once again. It's extra work, but if we use the right case that works properly, it should be fine. But we're still semi-hopeful that it'll work out.
Flowers in my garden never looked as bright as this. Like a happy child, I watched them grow out of only seeds. Butterflies down my stomach when I think of you and me. It's funny how a lot can change when you learn how to breathe. Look at my eyes, what do you see? Feels like we're only meant to be. All of my life, where have you been? 'Cause you're the only thing I need. The only thing I need. The only thing I need. Never ever thought I'd find something quite as right as this. Not even late at night, in my wildest dreams. And I can feel the world changing around me. I just wish we also feel all this energy. Look at my eyes, what do you see? Feels like we're only meant to be. All of my life, where have you been? 'Cause you're the only thing I need. The only thing I need. The only thing I need. Look at my eyes, what do you see? You're the only thing I need.
I have been trying to open this for the past 2 minutes. So, yeah, that's just a starving Jess trying to open her food. It is currently 3:40 in the afternoon and I just came back from work and I made myself a quick lunch. It's just a bowl of noodles. AMP open labs are just so chaotic, especially the end of it. Like, it's so messy, the lab is so messy because we have those plastic models which you can take apart and see the structures inside. Like, they just leave them afterwards and don't put them back together. I spent, I think, a good 3-4 minutes putting those small models together, but that's okay. The most hilarious thing is I randomly saw a skull lying on a desk. By the way, skulls do not belong to tables. They belong to either skeletons or the bone box, which is a box that contains real bones which are obviously processed. But yeah, they don't belong to open spaces and just tables. And then I looked around the lab and saw a skeleton missing a skull. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Oh. But yeah, I was meant to just supervise and make sure no one's mucking around with models, which obviously some people did. But I actually ended up trying to recognize or identify structures with them, which confused the hell out of me because I haven't done AMP in 3 years. And yeah, I'm pretty much as confused as they are, but I helped them a bit, so I'm happy and wish them good luck in exams. It is currently 4 o'clock and I just came back. There wasn't much work to do today at all, other than analyzing results and redoing our cell cultures, meaning starting from those tiny vials of frozen cells from liquid nitrogen and culturing them all over again, because our current bottle is somehow mutated and they look freaking weird, so we can't use them for any more experiments. We do have one experiment coming up next week, so we hope the cells will be ready by then. For tonight, I have decided I will make myself a frisbee because I haven't played for I think at least 3 weeks already. But I actually don't feel like spending time with people at the moment, so I may just go play one game. Today I want to do clinical chemistry, and for some units I'm just revising, but for some I'm actually relearning everything because I forgot everything. And Clin Chem is one of those units which I have to relearn everything. But I'll see how slow I'll go and see how much time I have left after doing Clin Chem, and I'll see what I want to do. It is now 12 at noon. I just came back. As I expected, there's virtually nothing to be done in the lab today. So our senior just told us to go home and do other lab related stuff we had to, like lab archives, data analysis, and I do have to generate some images for a graph, but that was just for practice. So I'm just gonna do one graph because one graph, I think there's like, I have to make 5 images for a graph, and there are like 14 graphs. So, and it is a painful process to just make one image. So I am not going to make all of them. And then I will have to attend a research seminar at 1. I normally don't attend because I'm usually still in the lab working at 1. But since I'm here already, I may just attend because it is over Zoom. I don't have to go anywhere for that. And then I have a ton of studying to do. I have a question. How on earth did I handle a ton of schoolwork, extracurricular activities, and still manage to read like, 5 books a week? It's been 2 weeks since I went to the library, and this is read, this is unread, and I have 5 other books I haven't touched yet. Like, just how?